age 27, I was the youngest director in Disney history at that time. And I just went into it going, I'm gonna go through this door and I'm just gonna do my best.
Have a cracker, pretty party.
So you guys didn't just bring with you drawings from Aladdin. We also have some drawings from Pocahontas.
Here's the gold.
What did father say, brother?
This is AI.
This is AI, amongst many other things.
AI, no! Look how good that looks. I feel like you've broken like reality or logic or something. My head is kind of twisted and changed in a way now.
My heart is beating. I don't know if you can pick that up on this mic. This is a groundbreaking moment. I can't believe we're here for it. I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. What's up, everybody? I'm Jordan, and welcome to another episode of Animators React with the Bancroft twins. But before we get into it, I'm here to talk to you about our longtime sponsor, Squarespace. You don't know anything about web design? Well, me neither, but you don't need to because Squarespace makes it super easy with their award-winning templates. They literally have something for everyone. One of my favorite newer features of Squarespace is their video studio. You can literally edit pro-level videos in Squarespace. The Squarespace Video Studio app helps you make and share engaging videos to tell your story, grow your audience, and drive sales. One of the best features that Squarespace offers is the analytic tools. Learn where your site visits and sales are coming from and analyze which channels are most effective. A lot of great stuff to help grow your business. Listen, I see you guys out there, all you creatives. I know you're trying to launch your online business right now. So stop making excuses. Squarespace is here to help you. Go to squarespace.com/corridorcrew so you can get 10% off of your first website or domain. All right, I gotta clear out because we got some animator legends coming in. I gotta go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Animators React. Tom Bancroft is joining us and he's brought his brother, Tony Bancroft. So Tony, why don't you kick things off? Tell us a little bit about yourself. What have you worked on?
I've worked in animation like my whole career, 33 years or something, mostly at Disney. I animated Pumbaa the Warthog in The Lion King. On Beauty and the Beast, it was Cogsworth the Clock. Iago in Aladdin. Oh yeah, and I co-directed Disney's Mulan.
Woo, man, what a resume. And Tom, you know, last time you joined us, you gave us a little insight into all the incredible stuff you've worked on as well, but just for a little refresher for everybody.
So a lot of the same movies. Tony actually worked at the same time at Disney. I was in the Florida studio, Disney Florida studio. Tony was in the California studio.
Right.
Actually brought some original drawings from Pocahontas.
Can't wait.
I got some from Aladdin of Iago, the
There it is.
parrot.
There's nothing more special than when people who have worked on these things bring in like this piece of history with them. Well, let's jump in and take a look at some of this work and hear some cool insights.
Come, warm yourself by the fire.
Thank you. No, no, no.
Oh, this is crazy. This is literally my first animated scene at Disney. They didn't have a lot to give out and I was like a junior animator and stuff, so I literally got the doors opening up as the beast came in.
Oh, hello.
That's it, that's right there. Oh yeah, I worked like a week on these doors opening up, so I like put love and care into those lines, you know.
You put a week into that? They paid you for a week?
I got like a week's
Wow.
wage off of Disney off of that, yeah. See how they kind of vibrate a little bit too? I wanted a little like, you know, cartoony shake to them.
When you're coming into Disney for like the very first time and you're like, you're gonna work on a movie, what kind of stuff do they usually give you? Is it things like that? Like, I need a door?
That
or like...
and we get what's called booger animation, and I have a couple of those in here. And booger animation is basically just like these long wide shots of the characters, and they're really small. So, you know, literally it is small little booger-sized drawings.
I also did booger animation on Beauty and the Beast, but mine was a lot of those guys carrying the log and like, let's go kill the beast.
Kill the beast! Kill the beast!
Basically,
Okay.
most all the incidental characters. If it wasn't Gaston, I probably did it in the whole let's go kill the beast
So
section.
basically anybody with a pitchfork or torch in the background.
Yeah.
Most of it.
We'll lay siege to the castle and bring back his head.
It is weird being as old as we are, looking back at stuff that we did in our 20s, probably 30s,
yeah.
at the very latest. But unlike Tony, I'm doing those like crowds of them in a week instead of just 2 doors opening.
I was in the Burbank studio, like the kind of the
Yeah.
A-list, and Tom was like in Florida doing this. He was like the B-list
It's like
group.
Disney's sweatshop in the 90s.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a jump over to Aladdin now.
We both worked on Aladdin, and actually we both did Iago, but Tony did more Iago than I did.
Yeah, we're both credited for that. Tom did some other characters too, a little bit of Jafar and stuff. But I did this whole sequence here with Iago acting like a parrot, and then the Sultan loves to feed him crackers. He doesn't want them.
Have a cracker, pretty Polly.
Shoves it in his mouth. It's very cartoony too. My supervising animator, Iago, Will Finn, was like, just shove his fist all the way through the back of his throat. And I was like, can we do that? It seems really cartoony for this movie, but he's like, yeah, just shove it in there. And so I brought the drawings from this scene too, because I thought it was just a lot of fun.
Wow.
So there's him, and his body drops off, but he's doing a little head shake right before the Sultan's.
The Sultan's
He goes
tiny little hands.
back, and then he goes forward into kind of a take there. Funny drawing with a blink, and then he gets pulled out. The shoulder rises up, and he gets pulled out of frame.
So when you're animating Iago, do you try to work in Gilbert Gottfried into Iago, or do you just take the voice lines by themselves and forget about everything else and just draw Iago?
Yeah, I get this question a lot, but absolutely, you're influenced by the voice. I mean, how can you not be influenced by Gilbert Gottfried? He's got that, he's always very verklempt.
I can't take it anymore!
That tonality, you want to get that in the face, you know, that causes the squintiness of the eyes.
Yeah, he squints a lot.
Right,
Yeah.
and you see that in Iago, it comes through, oh my God.
On the last episode when you joined us, you mentioned that there's a lot of yourself in Mushu, the dragon, which you designed. So when you're drawing Iago, is there you and Iago?
Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, when there's different mannerisms and stuff like that, we're kind of acting it out. You know, I'm playing it out a little bit in my mind, but also sometimes in front of a mirror. And a lot of those mannerisms are in Iago. When he's like dancing in the song with the genie and stuff, I made up that little dance and stuff that he's doing there. We can't help but put ourselves into our work.
And that really
right?
starts with the supervising animator, and in this case it was Will Finn. He really did that deep dive when he was designing the character to really make it feel like he's like a little character. If Gilbert's not a really tall guy either, so there's a lot of just, even in his structure, it feels like Gilbert. When Tony first showed me this as a twin brother and an animator, I was surprised. This was a big jump for Tony, really coming into his own as an animator. And I do remember that. That's what I finally remember as like, oh my gosh, he's bringing the next level. That was,
I was gonna cry
it's right here.
So you guys didn't just bring with you drawings from Aladdin. We also have some drawings from Pocahontas.
Here's the gold. And this is a big stack because it's a pretty big scene. So the stack obviously has to do with how long the scene is, but this is where she's first kind of just poked out. She's like looking around, and then Niko comes up. You don't see Niko. You can see like a little red drawing in there.
yeah.
That's where Miko is gonna be. So I went first, and then another animator went second and did Miko. And by the way, Flit comes up in this one too. And then I had to have her kind of crawl
Wow, that's a
out.
lot of foreshortening and perspective to deal with.
So they shot live action for Pocahontas. Almost the whole movie was shot in live action
Really?
first. They say that we made Pocahontas twice, much like they did in Cinderella and all those older films. And it's because we wanted it to move very realistically. And so we had that reference to go by. But in the case of this shot, they decided later on that she would climb out of the scene. So the actual animation of her climbing out, I just had to make up.
Oh, really? That's my favorite part. I assumed that you had live action reference
Thank
for that.
you, Tony.
When looking at Pocahontas here, like it's a very like minimalist character. When it comes to the face, it's like literally eyes, 0 wrinkles, 2 very subtle nostrils basically. The lips are almost just like a color patch. So when you have such a very simple, clean character, how do you make sure that your proportions are always the same and that, you know, the eyes aren't a little too big or a little too small or too far apart or too close together?
Well, we try, but we don't always nail it. You know, the cleanup department at Disney was super important, and I want to give them a lot of credit because on a film like Pocahontas especially, there was about 20 different animators on Pocahontas. Glenn Keane was the supervising animator, and he knew how to draw her. All the rest of us were just trying to draw like Glenn. And he would do drawovers over our drawings, And there's a lot in that scene I just showed where he had gone over and improved it and made it look more like her, and then I would go from there. And so that guidance is a big part of what you're asking. And of course the model sheets, that's why we make model sheets. It's so we can look at them constantly as we're drawing and go, okay, that's the distance between her eyes. And we can kind of, you get good at seeing the positive and the negative shapes of how the character should work and be drawn from different angles. But then it's still, by the time it gets to the cleanup department, they have to have another whole pass at it to go, okay, this is how Tom Bancroft draws Pocahontas, as opposed to Glenn Keane, to opposed to Prez Romelios. There were so many different animators, and we all had our own little version of how we drew her. And so they would help to kind of control that and make it look like one person drew that character.
Looking back at these Disney films, it's like a yearbook. All these shots were done by people we knew and cared about, and we see it in them. You know, we see them inside of those scenes.
So hey, here we are talking about classic Disney animated films from the 90s. What are some classic non-Disney animated films from the 90s that you might want to see us look at in the show? Please leave a comment down below.
Okay, so this sequence, this is a good sequence because it's one of the only times that we worked 3,000 miles apart. I was in Florida, he was in the California studio, yet we were working on the exact same sequence at the same time.
Jeez, it's a lion! Run, Pumbaa, move it! Hey!
Yeah, I did Pumbaa in this one. Mike Surrey, who was a good buddy of mine, we shared an office together. He did Timon. And then Tom came into town from Florida to do young Simba. He was assigned to young Simba on the film.
Repeat after me. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. I did that one there where he says, Hakuna Matata. And I did this like Jimmy Durante kind of thing with his nose there, like where he comes towards camera and goes, Hatata.
Hakuna Matata?
Yeah, it's our motto.
How do you get human expressions onto an animal's face?
That's like the bread and butter of Disney, right? We're doing that with the objects in Beauty and the Beast. With animals, we do the same things. It really is just a matter of trying to dig deep into the anatomy, the understanding of the actual animal, and then caricaturizing them, giving these human attributes.
I mean, this is the heart of acting. Like back in the day, they used to call us actors with a pencil. You know, a lot of people talk about, oh, the drawing and how hard and all that. You know, really the hardest part for us as animators was the part we didn't ever talk about, which was the acting, the performance part. And then the drawing part of it, hopefully, is secondary. And that's the hard part, to get to the point of drawing ability and things like that and getting to know the character and how to draw the character, where all that part of it becomes in the back of your head. And what's in the foreground of your head is just the performance and the acting.
Hakuna Matata.
I heard you mention something called Animtoon.
Animtoon is the world's best student films. What we've done is we're going all around the world and finding student films at all the best animation schools. Some of them are amazing, and they put a year's worth of work into this. We share the monetization with them. We advertise it, so we get as many eyes as possible on the student films.
That's super cool. All the time people are talking about, you know, how much they love traditional animation, how much they love like classic kind of style cartoons and animation. If you like it, it still exists.
Yeah.
Go check out Animtoon. Of course, go check out Pencilish Studios. I don't know if you have a YouTube channel or an Instagram or anything that you want to push.
Instagram, I'm Pumbaa Guy.
Pumbaa Guy.
Pumbaa has 2 A's.
2 A's.
I want to ask you about directing. When you were starting Mulan, what was your emotional state like? Looking at this mountain.
I was horrified. I'm telling you the truth. I was so scared to death about this because I was given, at age 27, I was the youngest director in Disney history at that time. And I was just terrified because there was more that I didn't know about directing than I did, for sure. And I just went into it going, I'm going to go through this door and I'm just going to do my best.
When directing an animated film, what does that entail? What is it when you're a director?
Well, there's less of this. You know, whenever you see like photos of live action directors, it's always like they're talking to and they're like, you go over here and you're gonna come.
Yeah.
It's none of that. You know, I was Tom's director on Mulan, and Tom's doing Mushu, and we'd issue him a scene. That meant we'd have a meeting and we'd just talk through the scene about what the outcomes are of the scene, what are the important elements that have to get by. Like when he comes up and he goes, I live. That was a great example of where Tom surpassed as an actor what we were expecting in that moment. But as a director, working with an actor like Tom in this case, you know, we love that he's coming up with performance ideas that fits right into what that moment is. And then sometimes we're catching things that need to be fixed or refined because we're looking at, you know, the overall, the big picture, where an animator in this case is only thinking scene to scene. Tom's head is all in the moment, and we're thinking more big picture of maybe an overall arc. Well, we're going to save that because Mushu's going to do that later. Those kind of things are really key to bring up in a director's meeting.
Mushu.
Way ahead of you, sister. Come on, Cookie.
Yeah, so kind of a Disney tradition over the years. A lot of times directors will put themselves in their movies.
Oh, wait, you're in the movie?
And I'm in Mulan as, myself and my co-director.
Citizens, I need firepower.
I'm the big one, yeah. We love this sequence because we literally like jump to our deaths. And that's kind of representing like the end of the film. We finished it and then we die.
Oh, man. Hey, Tom, you have a YouTube channel. What's the thing that you want people to do most after they watch your videos?
Subscribe.
You got it. Consider subscribing if you like watching our shows here on Corridor. So we made an animation.
What?
In the time since you came and visited us, we developed a technique to let us basically trace over footage of ourselves on the green screen to make it look like a cartoon.
No way.
It's gonna look a little different at first, but I'm curious at what, does it fade and just become a thing that you watch?
It's like Niko-mation.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
All right.
Niko-mation.
Oh my gosh, that's better than the backgrounds in Beauty and the Beast.
I know. Look at that shot.
And isn't it crazy? Like, cause we were figuring this whole thing out as we
Who's
went,
Tom
too.
Cruise there? How did Tom Cruise get into this?
That's Tom Cruise, Jody.
Okay.
Let us not forget the power to settle this lays in the palm of our hands.
Look at the lighting too. That's crazy.
This is AI.
This is AI. And amongst many other things.
AI, no.
Look how good that looks.
We're out of a job. Everybody, 2D's out of a job. This is killing me a little bit. All right, so the lip sync's off, definitely. There's some bad mouth shapes, but.
Shoot!
Oh my God.
Do it.
Oh, the shadows look like they're underwater a little bit. They're like ripply effects.
I don't even care that it's moving all around those shadows. I don't care.
Awesome.
Look at that shot. Like, these shots are amazing.
For the entire kingdom and the crown!
Let's finish this.
Whatever you did here, you've opened Pandora's box.
Somebody had to open it. Figured it'd be us.
This is gonna blow up the internet. I just
I hope
can't.
so. It comes out in 3 days.
Are we the first to see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is
I'm so
amazing.
excited right now.
I know. That was a feature film. That was
Oh
amazing.
my gosh, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
That was crazy good.
I mean it. I know we're supposed to be reacting. That was real. I can't believe that.
I've never been so happy and so extremely upset at you at this moment right
Like
now.
literally, it was like when I watched Toy Story for the first time. We're like, okay, 2D's dead.
I feel like you've broken like reality or logic or something. My head is kind of twisted and changed in a way now since I've seen this.
When we're putting everything out there with how we did this, we have a full like click-by-click tutorial on our website, but like on our YouTube channel, we kind of go into the process. Basically what we do is, you know, obviously the whole thing's written. And we actually, just like a cartoon, we voice act it all first. And we have a whole storyboard that we do, so it's all very like classic process there.
Oh, okay.
And then rather than drawing these scenes by hand, you effectively animate it on the green screen. It's almost like motion capture. After you get everything filmed, then we have to run it through the AI process, which basically traces the video. The style for this one is actually pulled from an old anime, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. But in the process, we learned that like if you wanted to create your own style and generate it, you only have to draw about 50 to 60 pictures of your character.
That's like my doors opening from
Seriously.
Beauty and the Beast.
Or theoretically, you can have an artist draw almost like the keyframes, so to speak, and like draw the style guides and all that. So you can use a real life motion capture with all the styles and characters that you build, and you kind of just bring them together. We realized that once we filmed ourselves in the green screen, we traced it, we put it on the background, it actually just looked like video. It was kind of boring. And it wasn't until we sat down, we're like, okay, I want him to whip this way, and we're gonna do this to the background, we're gonna add these effects, and you actually break it down and start adding animation that it
All
feels
right,
like
kids,
animation.
you just heard that. They spent real money. They put a lot of time into this. No, you can't just turn around and do this tomorrow, okay? Obviously, the biggest hurdles is the animation part of this, the lighting of it and all that, I'm sure, is some of the trickiest stuff. Were the backgrounds the easiest part? Because you could just sort of describe it and it already knew the style and it would create those shots?
So the backgrounds are actually 3D.
What?
Yeah. Sam went onto the Epic Game Store and bought a cathedral level that someone had made, and it already looked beautiful. It had all the props. It's just a gorgeous 3D model. We fired up Unreal Engine, and then what he would do is he'd go through the edit and be like, okay, the first shot's a shot of, Niko coming through the door, so I need a shot looking that direction. He'd put the camera there, grab a screen grab, and it looked like a video game render, and then we'd take that, and similar to how we're filtering the video of ourselves, we would filter that one frame through the AI just to give it a little bit of the painter look.
Okay.
That's all. We're just doing a very small style transfer to it, and that's it.
Gosh. I love how you rolled this out too, like, hey guys, you want to see my new ride? And we're thinking, we're thinking it's like a VW Bug or something. And then he's like rolls up in a Tesla.
We did a little animation. Why don't we watch it 20 minutes later?
It's a little something we've been working on. I don't know. You guys might want to see it. What do you think?
You could have easily have done 1 minute of this and we would have been impressed, but you went full on, we're gonna keep talking, monologue. Was that all just built in, or did you just have a funny gag?
No, because I was doing experiments starting in October, like trying to figure out if this process would even be a thing. And once it was kind of working, it was one of those things where it's like, if we're gonna do this and we're gonna go out and show people like, hey, you can use AI for art and like try to make something cool out of it, because it's kind of a controversial thing and a lot of people talk about how it's low effort and killing jobs. It's like, if we're gonna make something, it can't just be a test. It has to be a real product with a real story. It's like you watch it from beginning to end and it's a full film. And so we just committed to it.
Tom and I probably do represent a lot of anti-AI folks. So you picked two people that were obviously way over on the other side of this. And not only am I really scared to say this, but I'm really convinced that there's some good stuff here that can be utilized to make some great animation.
Honestly, my heart is beating. I don't know if you can pick that up on this mic. It's crazy. This is a groundbreaking moment. I can't believe we're here for it.
When it comes to AI, there's a lot of different types of tools, and you can use AI tools to denoise footage, or like clean up some rotoscoping, or change somebody's voice to be more gruff.
If your truck ain't dripping wet with mud and scum, well then it ain't a truck, you piece of shit.
There's so many tools in that world. I don't want to see people just ripping off other people, right? What I do want to see is it becoming easier for people to make things. I hope when people look at this, they don't see us as like, oh, we're killing things necessarily, but more so like we're enabling
And let's
things.
be honest, you guys are artists, right?
Right.
So you definitely had to be an artist to make this.
Right.
Like you can't just say, AI, make this. It can make it look pretty. It can't make it go to the next level that you guys went to.
Yeah.
There's so many abstract visual elements in animation, especially like anime, where it's like, sometimes the background goes away, sometimes there's speed lines, sometimes there's not speed lines. These are all decisions that are very abstract decisions that like a human has to make and decide.
That's the key, I think. It really comes down to artistic choices should be made by artists. And I think that's the thing that at first is like, what? The computer did all this? But it's not. It's you guys are artists. You guys are making all these choices, iterations and iterations of choices to come to this. So it's valid. I get that.
I still have a little tear coming down. I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Well done. You killed animation. All right.
Toy Story, Corridor Crew, it's over.
I really appreciate you guys coming in, because even though we're trying all this crazy new stuff, like you guys are the ones that have actually done the work and like made the pieces that culture remembers. And it's an honor to have you guys here and to just be able to show you my stuff and see you guys get a little bit excited about it really means a lot, but also holding these actual drawings, which I consider like little bits of history, it's really special. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
It all comes back to hire us, please.
Yeah. When you become Steve Jobs or Walt Disney, please hire us.
All right, guys, see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.